Welcome to the RGF DFS Tournament Takes podcast. Here with my two boys, per usual, back for week 2. I'm with the notorious one, Derek Farnsworth, Noto, with Bobby Gomes at Bobby Gomes DFS, million dollar winner in NFL. And then my name is Chris Kirkwood, Kirk D's. But we are happy to be back for week 2. Week 1 was, we'll get into it. I like to hear how you guys did. But we did not come in last in the Listener League, so that's always nice. We didn't have to worry about that at all. We're going to do the Listener League again this week. But how you guys doing? How does the slate look to you? Noto, what's up, my man? Are we on mute?
Sorry, I was on mute and I couldn't find the open browser. We're already off to a great start. Week 1. Thanks to you, Kirk. I actually had a pretty good week because I was looking to play more on DraftKings, and you're like, there's nothing in the lobby. There were no good contests like an hour before lock. So had to go over to FanDuel, played a couple big contests over there. Ended up taking like second or third in one of the 555 GPPs thanks to Bears defense. I think I'm going to take over Bobby's defensive segment of the week with my my first good defense call in my career, I think. And had some Cooper Kupp too on that squad. So good week for me. How about you two?
Yes, sir. Bobby did, to give Bobby credit, was all over the New England Patriots defense. So that was also a good call on defense. But how'd you do, Bobby?
Outside of the showdown win, it wasn't great on the main slate Sunday, but we're back this week. You know, it's a long season, so ready to go. Tank Dell flopped. Wasn't too happy about that. Had more AD Mitchell than I had Alec Pierce, so that didn't go great. It started off fantastic, but just dwindled away. I don't know. I'm ready for this week, ready to turn the page. So excited to kind of break this whole slate down.
Nice. I broke even on Yahoo, which had the majority of my money, although it's down to a concerning level now all of a sudden for action you can get, which is scaring me a little bit. DK, I pretty much flopped. Bijan killed me everywhere, but I did play HN everywhere. But I played Fields everywhere. That certainly didn't help when Richardson went off. But all right, we're back at it this week. We've got 13 games. We've got some high totals here. We've got leading the way is Tampa at Detroit. Detroit is 7.5-point favorite in the Dome, 51.5-point total, and probably has the least amount of chalk in that game. So that's probably something we're going to want to talk about, at least at this point. The next game, Cincy at KC. I don't know if Burrow is crippled or not. His hand is hurt or not. I don't know, but he looked awful. And the Patriots, man, they killed our Wong tees. I gave 4 UFC winners, 4-0, and then we couldn't take home the Wong tees. So we started off the bat. They crushed that one. But since he looked terrible, but we may go right back to the well. KC, Mahomes, they looked electric. Their offense looked electric to me. Worthy brings that Tyreek element back. Rashee Rice looks like a winner. Like he is going to be a wide receiver 1 all season. And you got Mahomes. And then we've got the Rams at Arizona. Cardinals are minus 1 point, 47.5-point total. We got New Orleans at Dallas. Dak looked good. Did bet on them last week. That was a good win. They're minus 6 this week against New Orleans, 46.5-point total. And then San Francisco at Minnesota. San Francisco is going to have a lot of chalk with McCaffrey out. How much McCaffrey did you guys have in best ball?
0. The donut.
Nice
as well.
Is that because you never got first pick?
No,
or did you
faded the Madden curse? You have to fade the Madden curse. That's the route I went all summer. So 0, the big 0. I took
once again
Jordan Mason,
proving our biggest strategy point is still the most effective. Avoid all the injuries. And that's how you win.
We do all this analysis during best ball, and it just comes down to who gets injured or not, which is hilarious. Someone was like, you have way too much AD Mitchell. And I'm like, in the comments, and I'm like, there's only been 5 seasons. Like, how do you know how you're supposed to play? So I'm supposed to play best ball like everyone else is and take 10 to 20% of all the guys I want to play? No way. Like that's never going to happen. Like if you run any Millie Maker or if you play any large field tournament, there's always some guy you're playing over 50%. You have to make stands. Now, do I think AD Mitchell's going to work out? Doesn't look good after the first week. But what I'm saying is you can't play guys 20% and 25% is the highest I own a guy. You can't do that. Like I just feel that that's like ridiculous, in my opinion. I don't know. You guys probably feel differently.
I saw a hilarious tweet today, hilarious to me at least. We were robbed of a generational game theory dynamic had CMC started the year on injured reserve. Could legit make a case for him going anywhere from end of first to the fourth round. I mean, that's like nerd alert. Like, have you ever? Yeah, like you might be a nerd if that is a generational game theory dynamic. If that's what you're talking about right now.
Speaking of, how about Jim Harbaugh's comment about liking guys that like football? That was great.
Yeah. All right, we got a lot of chalk we're gonna have to get to with him being down. Okay, so usually we come into week 2 and it's overreaction week, right? Like that's the every year everyone says the same thing, but like now we have a slate with like massive amount of chalk and it all looks like really good chalk, right? So this is going to be interesting. But let's start off. We always do. We check in on Thorman, Snaps, and Pace, who has their three up and pace games as Tampa at Detroit, Cincy at KC, New York Giants. Noto, shout out to Noto. He'll probably be back. We'll see. Giants at Washington, and the Blitz most plays. Cardi's got New Orleans at Dallas. It's always New Orleans with Cardi. Cleveland at Jacksonville, which is interesting, and then Tampa at Detroit. So they're in consensus with 2 of the games, Tampa at Detroit, New Orleans at Dallas, and then they each have a wild card in there, one New York Giants, Washington, the other Cleveland, Jacksonville. But just from a big picture overview standpoint, how is this slate looking to you, Noto?
Yeah, it looks like a fun slate. You did mention, there's going to be a lot of chalk this week, and it's hard to make, poke holes in any of them, especially Cooper Kupp, Jordan Mason, both of them underpriced given their expected roles. I was originally just planning to lock them into every lineup, but then was listening to the show with JM to Win and Squirrel Patrol. And I mean, there's a reason why Squirrel's like the number 1 DFS player. He thinks about what if he doesn't go off? What if Jordan Mason doesn't have the big game? Then what's going to happen? So I might not lock Jordan Mason. I'll probably just go 50% plus, but single entry cash games, that kind of stuff, you just got to look his way. But there are some overreaction spots that I think we can take advantage of. The Lions passing game, Amon-Ra St. Brown, all of a sudden nobody wants to play him in the highest total game of the week. You have, the Cardinals, Marvin Harrison, everybody overreacting about, his poor game.
His separation, his
calling him slow. And
yeah.
So, I mean, there's definitely some spots. We'll get to them. But, I think it's one of those weeks where you try to trust the underlying usage rather than just the box scores from week 1.
What are you thinking, Bobby?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a high-scoring week. Ton of chalk. Running back position's extremely strong. Wide receiver position's extremely strong. We talked about that pace New Orleans-Dallas game. Like, I'm just wondering where I'm not seeing a ton of ownership there. I think that's a game that I'm going to kind of target. I think that's a way you can get different in playing like a Kupp instead of playing Kupp. I know Kupp's 76, 7,400. Like he's obviously someone I'm going to be overweight on, but like getting up to CD, I think makes a good bit of sense, especially with Lattimore out or trending to be out. So I don't know. I like both sides in that game from a low ownership perspective for tournaments for sure. Yeah. And I think it's going to be a high scoring. I do think you have to kind of parse through what chalk you're going to play. Like, I think the 2 question marks I had from a chalk for like Breece Hall at 7,400, I think that you can kind of get away from that chalk or play him at the field. He's obviously a great play, but yeah. And then the Mason question, like, I think I'm just going to jam Mason. So, but maybe I should listen to that Squirrel and Jam to Win show.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting decision points. So like there's Breece Hall, there's Jordan Mason, there's also Kyron Williams, who the most dropped fantasy player is Blake Corum, who everyone said
the best ball guys. All the best ball experts had pants tense over Blake Corum, like the Kyron Williams thing was going to happen.
Once they heard he was going to be returning
years in a row. It was prior to that too. It was prior to that. It was prior to that. But yeah, the punt returner thing was like the icing on the cake.
Yeah, but here we are. Kyron looked amazing, massive usage. They got injuries to worry about, but good matchup with Arizona. Then we've got another situation with Walker looking like he's not going to play, so Charbonnet. Then we got I almost played J.K. Dobbins last week, and I just couldn't pull the trigger, and I was so like just seeing him go absolutely nuke in the second half. Because it's like, who are the high? Like, you look at Gus the bus, and then you look at Dobbins. Like, and if Dobbins is healthy, he's the electric back. Like, sometimes we just got to go with these electric guys. But he's cheap and may have earned some more rushing time or some more touches, and he would look electric. And then there's my old standby. He's like the old Chevy, James Conner, just never lets me down. But yeah, that'll be interesting. We got so many running back plays, like you said. We've got so many chalky and good wide receiver plays. We also have some cheap plays to evaluate, like the Yoseva, the Alan Lazard with his connection to Aaron Rodgers, and we'll get into all that. Demarcus Robinson, Tyler Johnson. But yeah, man, this is gonna be an interesting week. So what we're going to do, let me just check out the ad read situation. Never used to this. I'm going to start with one first, and then we'll get right into it. So let's talk about Splash Sports. Skip the trip to Vegas. Splash Sports hosts NFL Survivor and Pick'em pools every week, available in 34 states and TJ's own Canada. Start with their $1 million Survivor pool in week 2. Pick one winning team each week for a chance at $1 million, but remember to not use the same team twice. Join us in week 2 for the RotoGrinders Survivor Revival Tournament. Just $20 to enter. There's 20K, over 20K to be won, plus RG premium prizes for the top 20. Check the links in our description for more details. So definitely check out Splash Sports. We're going to be doing readings with them all season long. I'm sure we're doing a lot of things with them. And then, all right, let's start it off. We usually start at the running back position, take it over to quarterback, align that with our wide receivers, talk about the tight ends, which that was another thing last week. Tight ends. Nobody scored except Kyle Pitts. The knock on Noto to our lineup was like, to one of my lineups I was talking about pre-show. He's like, it's got Kyle. Everything looks good, but Kyle Pitts. I
told you he was going to go off because I told everyone to fade him last week.
He didn't even go off. He just caught an easy touchdown. That was it. But nobody did anything. Nobody did anything. Ingram was a total bust, but I mean, everybody was a bust. But all right, running back. So as we talked already, there's a lot of chalk here. The big question is, what are we going to do with Jordan Mason? How much do we play him? How underweight are we going to get, or overweight? We got Breece Hall. We got Kyron Williams, as I said, Charbonnet, James Conner, Dobbins, Gibbs, Ramondre's back, Kamara, Rashad White, Jerome Ford, Derek Henry. Some of these guys are going to be mentioned somewhere. So who is in the key personnel this week, Noto?
Yeah, obviously I have Mason tag. My original argument was just like, if you think he's 75% of C-Mac in terms of their expected production, you would play C-Mac at 7K without competition for targets every single week. So it's hard to make a case against him other than the ownership. I'll play him in single entry, small field stuff, which is usually my bread and butter. But if you are playing the Millie Maker, maybe you can make a case to fade him a little bit. Also tagged Kyron Williams. I think it's a good spot for him. I think he played over 90% of the snaps in week 1. We talked about Blake Corum not even, getting on the field. Love that game environment as a whole. I think you can kind of load up on the Rams. They're such a concentrated offense, especially without Puka, that I love that spot and great matchup against Arizona too. And then I love James Conner on the other side of that. It seems like we're always higher on Conner on this show than everyone else. And he just continues to crush. Whenever he's healthy, he's in a good spot. We saw David Montgomery, run all over the Rams last week, especially in overtime. So those are my favorite 3. In tournaments, I love Derek Henry. Everybody thinks he's washed already. He was kind of game scripted out of that Thursday night game. They've had 10 days rest. They're at home. Big favorites against the Raiders, who just got smashed by Dobbins and Edwards. So love Henry is like a 5% play in tournaments. Yeah,
that's gonna be like the big question every week. It's like Lamar or Derek Henry, or do they kill each other, or which one's going on? Which one's getting the touchdowns? But what are your thoughts on running back, Bobby?
Yeah, I'll go over the tournament plays first because I think the chalk pretty much for everyone's going to be Breece Hall, Mason, Kieran. I think those guys are all really fine plays. But just tournament plays that I think stand out. Stevenson, I don't know. I'm trying to gauge where his ownership is, but at 6,200, if people are going to play Charbonnet, I think Charbonnet might be the worst play on the slate because I'm going right back to the Patriots defense. Seahawks coming across country. I know he's getting all the usage, but Pats D at home. I think they get a defensive touchdown, so probably spoiling my defensive play of the week early. Going right back to them. If I had to say other tournament shots, I don't mind Najee Harris in the 4:00 games, and like you said, Connor. I think there are two running backs that might kind of get lost in the wash there. So probably getting over on those guys. Like the Henry call a good bit. Think he's interesting. Rashad White's going to be the player in that game that's not going to be played for Detroit and Tampa Bay. He's someone I would have interest in. And Alvin Kamara, when they were blitzing, and Dallas was going to blitz a ton, he's going to get all those dump offs. So I don't mind Kamara either. Pacheco at 6'9", I think is a very strong play, especially off the Mahomes ownership. I think it could be like a Pacheco 2-touchdown game versus Cincinnati, to be perfectly honest. That's pretty much where I have the tournament guys. I think you can throw Gibbs in there as well. I know Vita Vea is on the other side, but if he's catching passes, he's a part of that offense and their aerial attack. So I don't mind that. I don't mind him. The chalk that I have questions with is Breece. I love Breece, love him for the season. He was kind of the guy that I was drafting a ton in the first round of best balls. Tennessee's D-line is good. I know he's going to get a ton of usage, but I think the opportunity cost at running back super high. I'm definitely playing him. I'm just not going overweight on him. I'm going to be overweight on Mason. I was planning on locking him, but after Noto kind of said that, I made a rule to get J.K. Dobbins or Mason. J.K. Dobbins, I think, is at 5,400, so he's right in that range. And then JT is another one, 7,700 in a positive game script, seen all the usage. He's a guy, I don't think people are going to play Richardson. I kind of like Richardson, but JT at 7,700, I think makes sense versus the Packers.
Yeah, I like the Ramondre call. I mean, if the Patriots are going to rely on their defense and going to run the ball, he got 25 rushing attempts, 120 yards, a touchdown. He got 3 targets. I mean, you're talking huge workload. 78% of the snaps. So
I don't know who the rookie right guard is, but he was playing really well. I was watching this thing on YouTube, and they just kept running the same play right behind him. So yeah, I like Stevenson a good bit. I'm going to be overweight. If he comes in at 15%, I'll probably have 30.
Yeah, for GPP, for me, I like your Gibbs call too, because we want to avoid Vea, and he's the guy that's going to get those little screen touches. So like that one. I like Dobbins, as I already said. Any thoughts on Kamara for you guys?
I like Kamara. Like I said, Kamara, they're going to be blitzing a ton. Dallas, I think he's going to get a ton of the drop-off passes, those little screen passes that he gets. He's super efficient with them. So I think Kamara's a good play, especially if you're stacking up that game.
I faded him everywhere, and I hated it. The game was they let him just get garbage time points early in the third quarter and stuff, which when the game was completely already out of hand.
Yeah, this is the test week for the Saints' new offense under Kubiak. I mean, at home against the Panthers is one thing, but going on the road against Dallas is another. What about Pacheco? Seems like everybody's going to play Mahomes at quarterback in the passing attack.
Yeah, you have to like Pacheco.
This is why I think being at the field or slightly below on Breece is fine if you're playing larger field stuff, because guys like Pacheco and Kamara that are in that similar price range, I guess, I think they're very good plays.
Yeah, I'm in on him, especially, Mahomes is going to get a lot of ownership this week, I think, from a quarterback perspective, and that game in general obviously looks easy to go back to them. Who just before we get into moving other positions, but who's your favorite if we are going to jam a bunch of these Rams guys, besides Connor, who are you guys thinking with Arizona bringbacks at all?
McBride would probably be my favorite.
Yeah, he's going to be chalk. He'll be the chalk. What do you think? It's going to be Parkinson, just because of role and how cheap he is and the opportunity that's.
Parkinson's going to play 100% of the snaps. He would be my cash game tight end for sure over Jordan Akins.
And then what? It's going to be like Kelsey or McBride as like the pivot high end plays to be different at tight end and to beat the chalk cheapies.
Yeah, I think for me it's majority going to be McBride.
Laporta maybe.
Laporta, yeah.
I think everybody's just going to go cheap because of last week.
Do we think that like Kelsey? I guess
once I saw him with that stupid hat on, I'm out. I'm out on him.
You can't trust the hat.
Huh?
I just think they're gonna give him like they're gonna ease him into the season like they did last year.
Yep.
I agree. All right. So anyone else we're missing at running back? There's a ton of
the chat's always on Jerome Ford. Did we talk about him?
No, we didn't. But I mean he's the main guy. It's against Jacksonville. The game is projected to be close. I don't know, man. Sean Watson is awful. Is he dust? You got to make an opinion. Like, is he dust? Like, I want to bet. I want to hammer. It feels like the fish side. It feels too easy. I want to hammer Jacksonville.
As a Jags fan, I wouldn't condone that behavior, but I mean, he's dust for sure. He hasn't been good for 4 years, and there's just so much off-field stuff going on with him. But I mean, I like Ford quite a bit.
Chat's talking up. We didn't even talk about.
I'm totally frozen. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
As long as we can hear you, that's
not
really
the greatest
matters.
look, but
You turn the microphone on,
or whatever.
Turn your camera on and off.
All right. So chat's talking. So with Jerome Ford, we gotta make a decision on, but we also got to talk about Jacobs with he's obviously going to be get a huge monster workload, but how efficient is he going to be with a Willis at quarterback?
I mean, Willis isn't going to throw the ball much to running back, so that kind of hurts Jacobs. And then just the overall, I don't know, offense as a whole, I'm worried about. So
yeah, exactly. It's like sometimes efficiency, matters. Sometimes it just usage matters. He's going to get the usage, but I'm hesitant to play him. But for deep GPP stuff, I can see it. I mean, it wouldn't shock me. Jonathan Taylor on the other side of that game. No one's going to want to pay $7,700 with all this other, with Mason down there and everybody. It just seems too expensive this week to do it. But I mean, he could roll off a bunch of touchdowns in this game.
Yeah, don't mind that. Neil in the chat says Bobby looks better frozen. That's pretty good. But yeah, so who's your strongest take at running back?
I don't have one, man. I mean, J.K. Dobbins is my strongest take. Like, I'm just high on him until he gets injured. If he does, if he gets injured, whatever. But ride him while you can because he's electric, and I think he's going to take more and more of the Gus share away. Other than that, it's James Conner. That's just my guy, though. Yeah, he's always my guy. Rashad White in the Dome in Detroit.
I don't hate it. I don't know. I think both teams are going to pass a ton. A little worried Bucky Irving's going to get a bigger role moving forward. So I'm probably not going to play a bunch of White.
Bobby, you got a take on Josh Jacobs with a horrible QB who also runs?
Did you watch the Island game versus Philly? Josh Jacobs they built this beautiful team, this great offense, and then they went and signed Josh Jacobs. Like Marshawn Lloyd's going to be the starting running back by the end of the year there. No Jacobs.
I should have remembered. I think I saw a tweet from you on Jacobs. I should have remembered that.
What was the Ford? What was the Ford take? I'm just interested in.
I mean, he's just a terrible. Cleveland does not look very good at this point. But is that
and their O line? Are
we overreacting? Is Deshaun going to come out of this, or is he?
One of my favorite receivers. going to be on.
I've written off Deshaun Watson a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I know Noto's going to tout Cooper versus man coverage.
Yes, sir.
On the road.
Love it.
We'll get
Can't
there.
wait. All right, QB. Let's go. Let's start with the cash high ownership stuff. So it looks like people for cash. It looks like the blitz is on Fields at this point. It looks like others around the industry are on Jaden Daniels, who rushed a ton and now gets to play the Giants, and then also Patrick Mahomes. Other than that, it feels like anybody is wide open from an ownership perspective. Who is leading the key personnel for you, Noto?
Yeah, I got Jaden Daniels tagged just because of that rushing upside. Good matchup at home against the Giants. I do worry about the fact that, he's not throwing the ball downfield much, and Cliff Kingsbury never has a great offensive game plan. But until the rushing upside goes away, I'll keep playing Daniels at this price point. And then I have Kyler Murray tagged too. Didn't have a huge week 1 against the Bills, but ran for over 50 yards. Love the spot at home against the Rams. Again, that's my favorite game of the week. So I'm going to get as much exposure to it as I can. Don't mind Mahomes. We were talking about Mahomes like all year last year about not having upside, so not needing to play him in tournaments. And then, the Chiefs look good week 1. I know Xavier Worthy kind of opens that offense a little bit, but do we all of a sudden think Mahomes' ceiling's back?
I don't think that I ever got off Mahomes last season. Probably why I lost money, but I think that offense looks so damn good that I'm on Mahomes for sure.
Yeah,
they just against the Ravens, they just looked electric. Like it looked like Tyreek was back almost with Worthy. Bobby, what do you got to take? I want to hear some Sam Darnold talk because it's so easy to just.
You can wait for Vine for a show tomorrow.
Is that going to be who he's on?
He's going to be on Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones. Definitely going right back to the well on Daniel Jones tomorrow.
So Noto, you are the number one Daniel Jones.
I am
supporter.
not. I am not. Eric might be.
Are you back again, or are you done? You can't. You're so pot commit. You're going to come back.
If I played him last week, I have to play him. I have no choice. So
don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself.
I'm going to play him until he gets benched. So hopefully it happens.
They would be better with Kirkwood out there.
For sure.
No, they wouldn't. Maybe Dean Shavelson. Hey, Shavelson, get in here.
Hey, Giants are a prime Wong candidate, Kirk.
Yeah. I don't know. I saw the Ravens are the easiest one.
Yeah.
We'll get around to who to take with them. But yeah, I looked at that. Do you guys have a take on so me this year, and this was how I put my lineup last week. Fields, obviously they ran the ball more than I was expecting. And they didn't really let him pass, although he looked to have good chemistry with Pickens. I think Fields is people think I think he's better than people give him credit for. And I hate Tomlin offenses, but naked QB with any of these rushing guys is I'm totally fine playing them if they're cheaper and I don't like any of their options, and I think they could potentially beat whoever I'm trying to stack with them. I don't mind plugging them in. Do you guys have a take with that?
In larger field stuff, I'd probably stack them with Freiermuth. But in single entry, I think it's totally fine to play them naked.
So who would be the candidates? Daniels? Because Daniel, if they shut down McLaurin, who are you going to pair?
I thought you were talking about Fields.
I am, but Daniels is another option. Same situation.
Daniels, McLaurin. I think you can B-Rob, I guess.
I'm not playing Daniels with B-Rob.
Ertz, he throws to B-Rob.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying. That's not a great play based on the goal line
touchdowns.
I just worry McLaurin's the only receiver that they kind of trust there.
All right, GPP winner Dak Prescott. Is that happening?
I think that's happening.
Ooh.
I kind of think so too.
Dak to CD.
And then, I was so upset. I was so tilted right off the bat. I almost played Shaheed in my main line because he was so cheap. instant touchdown, right to the house.
I haven't heard anyone bring up. Sorry to cut you off. I haven't heard anyone bring up Dak, and it's like, just play him.
I mean, you look at ownership, you look at his price, which isn't too bad. You look at his weapons, and Ferguson is out this week. I mean, Dak to CD just looks like a no-brainer.
You can throw Cooks in there too, and Schoonmaker.
Cooks is kind of expensive. He's
I know,
but
they're so concentrated. They're so concentrated. Like, does it really matter? He's not going to be owned. They're at home. Like, they're not in New Orleans. So I think Dak's like the play. And I also like the run back. So you talked about Kamara. I like Olave. Rashid.
Well, Olave is the forgotten wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys don't lock Jordan Mason, you're going to build any Purdy teams? Seems like the better leverage spot.
Yeah.
One of the better leverage spots.
I'm definitely interested.
Our boy Buying4 has Purdy tags.
So he's playing Ayuk and Debo. Ayuk's the forgotten one too. Like, they just gave Ayuk that huge contract.
He's gonna steam. He's gonna steam this week. I think that's my prediction. Even though
the thing is, Debo versus Too High is like the best matchup in the league possible outside of getting Tyreek Hill. So I don't know. You got Debo's in a major ceiling spot.
You got Jefferson on the other side, easy bring back.
Yeah.
Anyone else? No, we're not.
Baker?
No.
Goff?
Yeah, Baker was a good call mine last week. I bet on them. I also took his over. And I took a Mike Evans touchdown, which was nice. Mike Evans gets touchdowns. I hear a lot of people talking about Godwin this week. Yeah, but give me Mike Evans every single week. We'll see how that runs out over the season.
Jared Goff too. Always crushed Todd Bowles. Antoine Winfield's out for Tampa. Secondary is just really shaky right now, so I think he's interesting too.
Are you guys done with Burrow?
Yeah.
For now, yeah.
All right. Let's go to wide receiver. I think I'm kind of interested in playing Burrow, but I don't know. It might not be the smartest thing. My computer is freezing right now too. All right. Wide receiver position. We've got some Cooper Kupp is going to be enormously owned for good reason. I mean, he was clearly back to his old self and the number one Stafford connection. And then Puka goes down. He's just going to get monster workload. And he's such a good route runner. It doesn't matter what kind of coverages they're going to throw on him. He's going to get open. They have that connection. 7,600. He should be 9K plus in this spot, I would say. The other chalky option is going to be Debo, as we mentioned. CeeDee Lamb is still going to be up there for ownership, but he's kind of the third. Rashee Rice, I think, is going to get a lot of ownership. Amon-Ra St. Brown, we got to talk whether we want to go back to him. Justin Jefferson. So we have everything we need this week at the high end. We've got a bunch of studs, so we got to pick the right ones. We got to pick potentially if Brees is chalk, if Garrett Wilson could go off at 7,100. He's not going to be too highly owned. Malik Neighbors, let us all down, but that was more Daniel Jones, country club kid, who let us down. That's my number one rule. You can't play country club kids at quarterback. Alan Lazard provides a cheapie. Demarcus Robinson provides a cheapie. Tyler Johnson provides a cheapie. I'll let you start off with this. Where are your strong takes? Who's your guy this week at wide receiver?
Yeah, I think it's CD. Gonna get a bunch of CD. 8,800. He's 1,100 more than Kupp. I think he's probably my favorite. Although I obviously like Kupp, he's in a fantastic spot, and I'll definitely have some Cooper Kupp. Neighbors at 5'9", don't mind a good bit. Godwin playing the Cooper Kupp role for the Bucks. I think he would be my preference to Evans. Just looking down the list, I don't really. The Debo Mason like correlate. Like I got to figure out what I'm doing there because I think you can play both of them, but I don't know if I want to play both of them together unless it's with Purdy. I don't know. I'm kind of stuck there. Like I don't really have a good. I need to figure out like how to group that. Brandon Ayuk, Olave, I think they're the tournament plays that you want to kind of get to on the slate. I'm running back like every one of my DAX stacks with someone from New Orleans because I just think there's so much leverage in that game based on the fact that I don't think anyone's playing it. That's pretty much it. Rashee Rice is just a fantastic play. Like there's so many good wide receivers too. Like that's why the chalk Kupp, like, yeah, he's fantastic, but
that Rice price is going to keep climbing every week.
Yeah, he's 6,700 when he should be like 7,800.
Sorry, I want to go back to one question that I didn't ask. So someone from chat, we didn't talk about Matthew Stafford at all. Like we've got all this chalk surrounding him. He's only 6K. I get it. Kyron could be the play and get all the touchdowns, but it certainly could be Kupp and through the air, and 6K looks kind of okay. Are you guys in on him for tournaments?
Don't hate him, but my problem is you can just get all the production because you know where the ball's going to. You can just play Parkinson, Kupp, and Kieran and kind of just get all of the Stafford points. And if he doesn't break 300 yards and 3+ touchdowns, he's not getting there in tournaments.
He's flirting with 300 every week, though, it seems like.
Yeah. He's not a bad player. I just like a little rushing upside. I don't know.
I feel the same way as Noto, though. Like I like the rushing upside and probably lean that way before I want a Stafford.
Yeah, but it's like, and then these rushing guys don't go off, and then, and Anthony Richardson got there, like, luckily in the second half. Like, he was looking like a bust for a while. You forget about these guys. TJ.
We have a guess.
The thing I'd want to say with Stafford, and I feel the same with Baker Mayfield probably this week, is if I am playing them, knowing that they don't have the same rushing upside as a lot of other guys, I don't want to double stack them. I'm exclusively triple stacking them. And so it's like DeMarcus Robinson and Tyler Johnson are both so cheap. I'm playing 3 of Kyron, Stafford, Robinson, Williams, Johnson anytime I'm playing Stafford because they'll all be involved if he does hit a ceiling of like 300+ yards, 3+ touchdowns.
And they're all too cheap.
Yeah, so it's like it's either like a just Kupp and Kyron for me, or if I'm playing Stafford, I'm making sure to do the full stack with the cheapies.
Got it. All right, back to wide receiver. Noto, who are you thinking?
Yeah, so my problem is, all the chalk looks pretty good. Love Cooper Kupp, Debo, Lamb, Rice. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. Looks like he's going to be more popular than I originally thought earlier in the week. But for large field stuff, 2 guys in particular that stand out. One's going to be Amari Cooper. I know Deshaun looked terrible. But, man, those air yards are calling my name. And, like Bobby mentioned, the Jacksonville D, they played man coverage on over 70% of the snaps last week. The next closest was like 30% in the NFL. So they're just going almost exclusively man. I think Amari can beat him deep. Whether Watson can get him the ball or not, I'm not sure about that. But I'm going to take some shots there. And then love Justin Jefferson. Just seems to be the forgotten guy up top. No Addison, no Hawkinson. Home underdogs in the dome. I think he's just going to see, a ton of targets, and he's getting half the ownership of the rest of the elite wide receivers.
Yeah, we do have some decent mid-range plays. Again, obviously Malik Neighbors from a talent standpoint, and hoping Daniel Jones gets going in what should be a very good matchup. You're getting an elite prospect for 5,900. And then I can understand the Godwin take, like, over Evans, because Godwin's going to get some ownership this week, and he's only 6K, 100 more than Neighbors. But, the way that Detroit loves to pressure, Stafford was throwing that ball out as quick as possible, if you guys remember, and Godwin seems like the same type of receiver there, like in the Cooper Kupp role, I guess you could say. But so Godwin's in play. Who else in that mid-range provides upside? Oh, let's talk about Jameson Williams. Is it just like a first game surprise, or is he, could he become the man by the end of the season for Detroit?
I think Jameson Williams is fantastic. I think the coverage, I think they play too high, a lot of zone Tampa. So I think it would just be funneled to Amon-Ra more. So that's why I prefer Amon-Ra, but I'm still playing Jameson Williams, obviously.
I kept my showdown captain, unfortunately, with Puka. It's tilting. All right. Any other plays in that price range?
I don't know. I'm tempted to build a Neighbors McLaurin lineup. Just hope that their quarterbacks can get them the ball.
Man, 2-1.
Yeah, they're playing together, or I don't know. Feels gross though.
I get it. I like it. There's in theory, if we didn't watch last week, I would like it a lot more. But that's in theory part of the overreaction standpoint.
If you don't have Kupp on a team, should you be building with at least one of Godwin or Amon-Ra? Just to get that PPR or Lamb, I guess. I don't know. It's more a three max contest question, I guess.
Just who are the best pivots off of Kupp? Where are you?
You need someone to beat Kupp if he's not on your team. Not that he's not going to be on a lot of my teams, but I need like a PPR guy that can compete with him. I think that would be Godwin and
it could be Garrett Wilson for all
Godwin, Kupp, Godwin, Debo.
Yeah, what about Jamar Chase?
Yeah, let's talk about Chase. Back, he's not going to be limited this week. He didn't want to be limited last week.
He wasn't really. He ran around on 85% in snap or dropbacks.
Yeah, but after the game, they were like, "Why didn't you get the targets?" He's like, "You're gonna have to ask coach." I don't know. I could see him if they're competitive. I think that we may be all way too low on Cincy after a bad week against the Pats with like all the stuff that they had going on. Give him a full week of practice again this week. If Burrow comes out of his shell and plays better, Jamar Chase against KC. I mean, this would be like the easiest game stack, right? Like Mahomes, Rice, and Jamar, and then Value Town all around. And Jamar's going to make that like somewhat unique this week because he's projected to be extremely low owned. Maybe he gets steam. I don't know.
We'll see. But the playoff game a few years ago against KC, he had 11 for 266 and 3. So, I mean, there's a chance Jamar Chase is the guy you need this week.
Who are we stacking Chase with? I mean, Burrow to Chase, because Cevis isn't great. I know he played a majority of the snaps.
Yoshi. I'm not taking Yoshi.
They have 3 tight ends: Gesicki, Hudson, and someone else that they're playing. So like
Gesicki's going to be Gesicki is a blitz favorite right now.
Yeah, I guess Gesicki makes a good bit of sense and someone you should be over on. But I still worry about Hudson working in a little bit. But at that price, who cares, right? Yeah, I would just prefer Dak over Burrow.
Noto, with your Deshaun, you're not playing Deshaun. Are you gonna play Deshaun and Cooper, or are you just gonna play Jacksonville side with Brian Thomas and then run back Cooper?
I mean, I'm probably just playing Cooper. I don't have a ton of interest in that game as a whole.
No,
I don't know. Brian Thomas looks awesome though.
I mean, if Cooper goes off, you got to assume that there's going to be some Jacksonville points.
Yeah,
I don't know, but he's cheap. You're right. All right. Any other plays? Cheapies.
Should we talk? Alan Lazard, I think, is a horrible play. 3,300. I know he's Rodgers' guy, but he's just someone based on like I'm not chasing 2 touchdowns from Alan Lazard at 3,300. So I think I'm probably going to X him.
What if I told you he was the only wide receiver to play 100% of the snaps?
Yeah, but Mike Williams is going to be ramped up again this week.
And a lot of those catches came from Tyrod late in that game.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that
I mean,
shakes out. But
he's
no one's
3,300.
gonna know. It seems like nobody's playing Garrett Wilson.
I like Garrett Wilson. Their secondary just seems a lot stronger after week one. Maybe I'm just overreacting to week one, but for years you could attack Tennessee secondary. I don't know if that's currently the case anymore.
There was that one drive in the Niner game where Rodgers went to Wilson like 4 straight times, and it's just like, oh man, he's going to have a huge season. Look like Devontae Adams type of connection. So we'll see if that gets going.
I like the Garrett Wilson call. I just need to think about how to play it.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good wide receiver plays. So I think we touched on a lot of them. Let me bust out another one of these reads. Let's talk about the Favorites Pod contest over at Action Network. If you're looking for a plus EV contest this NFL season, our friends over at Action Network have one for you. Their podcast called The Favorites is bringing back their free NFL Pick'em contest this season. Totally free to sign up at favorites.actionnetwork.com. Just 5 picks against the spread every week. Cash prizes for the top 10 finishers, 40,000, 40 G's for first place. 100K prize pool, thousands up for grab each week. Again, totally free. Grind those free plus EV contests. Contest just went live. Just go to favorites.actionnetwork.com to sign up and compete for your share of the prize. And let's bust out the last one, the RG NFL Listener League, which we are in and we were in last week. Play against us, play against all the guys on your favorite shows here at RotoGrinders. This is the RG Listener League. Play alongside all of us and other viewers. You'll have a chance every week to compete for first place and win yourself a month of RG Combo Premium. Check out our description for an invite to the contest. But what's RG Combo Premium running these days? I don't know because I never pay for it. So is it like it's pretty expensive, right? TJ, quick. I think it's like $2.99 or maybe $99.
I don't know. It depends where you look. It's cheap right now because it's like that's the read for a different show, right? Is RotoGrinders Premium is on sale for the start of NFL season, so it's the best deal you can get it at right now.
There we go.
Yeah, all right, and it gives you everything you need. It gives you an optimizer, which some people are out looking for right now. That gives you projections. You can also get the blitz, add to it, and there's all the sports. You get all the sports. You got an MMA going off. You get a bunch of articles from Noto Squirrel. You get Bobby's expert plays. You get a lot of stuff. So,
do we get into why a lot of people are looking at an optimizer, or we just leave it at that?
No, you leave it at that. Yeah. All right. Tight ends, and then we will get to the famous Bobby Gomes / Derek Farnsworth defensive segment because we got two guys neck and neck going at it from the defense perspective. But all right, tight ends. So Parkinson, cheap, 3,100. All the with Puka out, he's got the Higbee role this year, which is always a good role. 3,100. Not anything bad you can say about him. So he's going to be the cheap chalk that everybody gravitates towards. Cardi has Gesicki there. He'll also get some ownership. Kelsey, we want to touch on Jordan Akins, who is back now, not with his connection to Deshaun Watson. I guess that's at least they used to play together over in Houston when Deshaun was actually good. But with Njoku out, Akins makes a lot of sense at 3K. Trey McBride and Travis Kelce are the two high-end guys. And then there's a bunch of flyers I don't really have a take on, so I'm hoping some of you guys do. But and also like Sam Laporta and Mark Andrews could be coming back from the dead or likely. So there's a lot of ways to go. But how much Parkinson for you, Noto?
Probably not a ton, but I'm just going to rotate Parkinson, Akins, and Schoonmaker in most of my lineups on DraftKings. They're all between 29 and 3,100. I don't feel good about any of the expensive tight ends. I got burned by, Kincaid and Ingram last week, and I know we shouldn't overreact, but I just don't want to spend the majority of my salary there. I am spending up, I'll play some McBride. I'll play some George Kittle. I think Kittle is kind of the guy that's getting overlooked on the Niners. Probably the better way to get leverage in that spot. Feinport has him tagged as well, Bobby. So yeah, those are the 5 guys I'm kind of looking at.
What are you doing, Bobby?
Yeah, for me, I like McBride as a spend up. I don't mind Andrews at 5K. I do think that's interesting. He's someone for tournaments that I'd be over on. Don't mind going back to Ingram. It's a good matchup versus Cleveland. For the low end, I think Parkinson's probably my favorite. Just been talked into Gesicki a little bit. Jordan Akins, I don't want to play Jordan Akins. I'm going to hate that come Sunday. So that's pretty much where I'm at. What about Chig Okonkwo versus the Jets? I think he's rather interesting for larger field tournaments.
Yeah, did he score a touchdown last week? I feel like he did.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an athletic beast. Just has a bum quarterback. I mean, talk about some awful plays at quarterback last week. What about Brock Bowers? Not to be confused with Brock Landers.
I think he's the interesting run back if you're trying to run back that game, which I'd probably not advise because it's in Baltimore. It's probably going to play slow, but he'd be the interesting run back to Henry teams.
8 targets last week. Yeah, so I don't know. What I'm going to do. Evan Ingram, I can't go out like that with Evan Ingram last week.
I like him.
Nobody's playing him now.
Nobody's going to play him.
I think that's my GBP play, and I'll just eat the chalk with Parkinson probably on small field. Maybe. I just think the opportunity is going to be too good for him. All right.
I can't wait to play Schoonmaker, and then I'm going to think he scores a touchdown, but it's going to be one of those other tight ends in Dallas. I already know what's going to happen.
That's what I have a lot of trepidation with Schoonmaker. That's why I don't mind just playing Cooks, paying the tag.
Maybe. What about George Kittle? It's Kelsey situation. They're not going to use him enough.
Yeah, I brought him up.
I loved Kittle on the island slate, and then he was a blocker. He's such a good blocker, they just leave him in the block.
Well, I mean, that's his story. That's like unless they need him, when they really need him, they pull him out. But yeah, all right. Defense. Who wants to first? Derek, you're shining from last week. You started off this week. Bobby, you may have gotten Willie pipped. We'll see. If Noto can outscore Bobby on his favorite D 3 weeks in a row, it will become the notorious Derek Farnsworth defensive segment.
We'll have to bring back Bobby's ad read if that happens. I'm gonna go Titans. TD at home against the Jets. I still don't know what to expect from Aaron Rodgers in this offense. If Levis doesn't turn the ball over a bunch and they build a lead, we get the tee off on Rodgers. He's not very mobile anymore, so that's where I'm going.
Yeah, I like that one. I'm gonna go the Patriots again. Right back to the well. Team coming across country. Defensive touchdown for the Pats this week. We know Geno's going to sling it. I like the Pats a good bit.
Man, the Jags look good to me. I think Arizona is kind of like the leverage play for cheap. Terrible talent situation, but man, the LA is banged up everywhere, so I could see that working out for cheap, 2,300. I might take a stab there. Broncos are probably going to be interesting, but me personally, I really don't usually.
What about Pittsburgh on the other side in that game?
Yeah, I mean the defense is legit.
Yeah, their D looked really good last week.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you guys, and then the best thing I can do is be on a show with 2 guys who give defensive picks, because then I can just play them and then blame you if they lose. So, or you get all the glory if they win. So either way.
Can I call a touchdown for the Patriots defensive back? Marcus Jones picks up Geno Smith for a touchdown.
Let's go.
Wow.
Okay, get ready to clip that, TJ and Devin.
All right. Let's talk favorite stacks and then get out of here. Week 2 favorite stacks. I think I'm gonna just you know what? I'm not calling. I think I'm gonna just play chalky, but I'm gonna take Jamar Chase, like we talked about. I'm just as a bring back and hope that like he's just unowned, like not unowned, but like low owned for what he brings to the table. I mean, this is a guy who can absolutely nuke the slate, and then we could just easily play Mahomes and Rashee Rice. I'll take, and you could maybe even double stack him with Worthy, but not sure about that one. But I'll do that. Mahomes to Rice, bring back Burrow, and then for a I don't know if I have an out there one. I guess I'm going to probably be on an island and play some of these rushing quarterbacks alone and then stack the games up without the QB. But that's my own little whole thing that I'm working on here. But Noto, who's your favorite stacks?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Kirk, in that I'm playing a lot of these rushing quarterbacks and not necessarily forcing stacks on their sides, but love Kyler Murray, and then you're just going to stack the other side of that game. I'll play some Kupp and Kieran and Parkinson. Probably have like 3 Rams on the other side of my Kyler stacks.
Yeah,
Bobby.
For me, it's going to be Dak to CD, run back Rashid Shaheed.
I was going to say Dak to CD, but I want to let you know I left it for you.
Thank you. What a good friend you are.
You
good,
claimed
good,
it first.
good colleague.
I didn't want to steal it from.
I don't know if we're friends. Are we friends?
You guys have gotten along so well.
Definitely friends. How can you say that?
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. For sure.
That hurt. That's like a knife through the heart. We talk about our kids. We talk about there's people don't know what goes on.
Our relationships come a long way.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have our moments, but we dust it off and we move forward.
You see my tweets on Twitter and blow a gas can.
I don't blow gas. I think you monitor whether I like your tweets or not.
I do monitor. I like my tweets. It's extra brownie points.
The only thing just your Celtic. You get me riled up with Celtics. That's the only thing.
I think I'm going to be on. I'm hopping on the bandwagon. I have to be.
Come home. Come back home.
I know. I'm definitely on the Pats bandwagon this year.
Well, I think what got you is how disrespected they treated Tatum and Brown for the Olympics.
That bothered me. Yeah.
And so now it gives you some little reason to come back.
Yeah.
It's Steve Kerr and Nike. But whatever. All right. Are we done?
We're done. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do we have a Wong teaser? Or are we doing that?
Oh yeah, we don't. And we have a huge UFC card tonight. So all right. I don't like anyone yet in UFC, and I got to take Phil to the vet. I'm going back to Boston, all the way to Everett, BCA, Bobby. Taking my dog to the vet because I didn't get him a new vet over here yet. But
that's the excuse to get to the casino. We'll just leave the vet in Everett. Yeah, sounds good. Lauren definitely knows what you're up to. By the way, you're not.
Anyways, I'm taking Marab tonight. I guess again, I want to go with Sugar. I love Sugar. I think he's an elite striker, but I just think Marab's gonna shoot 60 takedowns, and it's either one or the other. But Marab's probably is who I'm going with. I don't have any other strong picks at this point yet. If I do, I'll tweet something out if anyone cares. 4-0 last week, so you should care. And I have absolutely crushed UFC in general. But the Wong teaser. All right, Noto, give me the Ravens are the side for me. -8.5. That's right in the Wong range. And then
Lions -7.5.
Yeah.
You can go Giants up, you can go Broncos up, you can go Packers up.
Well, let's do Giants for you, right? You got yeah. All right. So the Wong teaser of the week is 2-team teaser on DraftKings -120. It is the Ravens and the New York Giants, and Bobby is not going to bet it because we said New York Giants.
Patriots +9, pretty easy.
All right. That's a wrap. Thank you for joining us today. RG DFS Tournament Takes podcast. We'll catch you back next week. Thank you to producer TJ. Thank you to Noto. Thank you to Bobby. Thank you to Juggalo Nation. Everyone else in chat who's come here. The Don Yeezy, a bunch of J3, a bunch of people that have always supported us. So thank you for that. And let's win some money this week. Thanks.
Woo!
Woo!
Woo!